Impressionism and Post-Impressionism, a comparison by Ken Shoup. Impressionism was a derogatory term coined by Louis Leroy. In 1874, he felt shock at the painting's sketch-like qualities. Abbreviation, speed, spontaneity, surely it must all be a ploy. The artists, for some reason, refused to show their abilities. To them, the paint, canvas surface, light, color, and perception mattered, more than any element of traditional picture-making. In the end, Mr. Leroy thought it all looked rather tattered, for these were only impressions, not paintings. Surely the artist must be mistaking. A mix of subjective response and objective description, Monet, Pissarro, Morisot, Monet, and others followed, using a mix of highly decorative inscription. On the canvas surface, a painting was hollowed. Among the most significant of Impressionist paintings is Monet's ruined cathedral, The Portal. For long hours he spent waiting, painting the light that made the building seem so immortal. Through the paintings he captured the passing of time, over the main portal the movement of sunlight. He's destroyed form, the critics chime, but in time Monet's style would prove right. Following along the lines of Monet is Morisot's villa at the seaside, with a woman elegantly dressed gazing out at the sunlit beach. A child discards a toy boat and gazes out at the sails on the tide, the mood being of relaxed leisure, making one feel quite peach. Open brushstrokes and plein-air lighting proclaims her impressionist roots, with sketchy brushstrokes marking her quick perceptions. The slightly filmy, soft focus conveys a feeling that gives the painting an airy suit. Like other impressionists, formal figure placement avoids any deceptions. Morisot avoided hostile criticism directed at most of the others, instead praised for her sensibility, grace, and delicacy. She was left to her own druthers, continuing her painting career with great efficacy. However, many artists still remained unsatisfied with solely capturing momentary sensations of light and color. Through this style called Post-Impressionism, they rectified the neglected elements of traditional picture-making, whose loss made work seem duller. Among their names included Toulouse-Lautrec, Seurat, Van Gogh, Gauguin, and Cézanne. These artists more systematically examined color, line, pattern, and form. One thing to note is that these artists had no set plan. They were not homogeneous, there was no norm. One of the most famous of these works is Seurat's A Sunday on the La Grande Jatte, the subject consistent with Impressionist recreational themes. Parasols, the female in cylindrical forms, along with many a different hat, helped to set up this rhythmic, in-depth, and side-to-side movement scheme. Seurat shows a clear interest in light and color, with the painting having a deep rectangular space. His subjects all appear as a rigid and remote other, and the repetition of motifs creating flat patterns and spatial depth with grace. Through pointillism, this interest in color is amplified, partially marked by a clear segregation of sun and shade. Formal and abstract elements are carefully balanced and stratified, almost like the contemporary distinctions in social class the painting bade. Vincent van Gogh also worked under the post-impressionist umbrella, with among his most famous paintings being the one titled Starry Night. Through color and brushstrokes, Van Gogh paints his expressive novella, indicative of his own fast approaching blight. Van Gogh expresses his feelings about the electrifying vastness of the universe, with the cypress tree indicating inspiration was taken from outside his window. To get to the stars through death he must first traverse, leaving behind his qualms with religion from his endo. Next came the Japonisme style, appealing to the French with its exoticism and beauty. Japanese goods and cultural elements became popular for a while, appealing to artists who sought to make their paintings more fruity. Impressionists and post-impressionists alike were equally impressed, with Japanese woodblock prints having a particular weight. Inspired by their use of space, the artists addressed the canvas surface which they sought to consecrate. Degas did this in the tub, with a distinct composition and angles, referring back to a Torii Kiyonaga print that he owned. Toulouse-Lautrec was largely caught in the same tangles, with his painting at the Moulin Rouge showing the oblique composition he owned. And so this concludes my lengthy exposition about Impressionism and Post-Impressionism, along with the artists of each. Each style has their own unique composition, with qualities each groups of artists sought to beseech. The sketch-like qualities of Impressionism allows expression through painting itself, while the Post-Impressionists focus more on the traditional content. Looking at an Impressionist work, I feel I am able to express myself, with emotional brewings and courage to augment. With Post-Impressionism there is less room for interpretation, but still a dramatic and beautiful composition is created nonetheless. I feel each style gets very close to a level of consummation that allows for interpretable language to coalesce.